We don't know much about childhood of Bitsa serial killer, but that's the bit we know. Alexander Pichushkin lived in the dysfunctional family, abandoned by father in one apartment with alcoholic grandpa and his mother, who was focused on her new child. Things were even more difficult at school. He studied in boarding school with the kids from disadvantaged families. He was physically weak and had socialization difficulties, which was enough to become a primary target for bullying. At the end of the school he changed. He pumped up muscles and fought back. But he went further and was seen on bullying middle schoolers by himself. At the college he was seen as weird, but respected person.
Располагал к себе. То есть, если вот играть, допустим, так вот, то есть не был таким не отщепенцем, таким, как вот бывает изгои некоторые там.
Classmates feared of him. Some of them later remembered. Then someone was asking Pichushkin to borrow the money. He jokingly required to write a suicide note, so in case the classmate didn't return the money, he will kill him, and pretended like suicide.
Встречались мы с ним на Битский конно-спортивный комплекс. Ну, знаете, там такие ступенечки там. Вот. И всякий раз, когда он ко мне, когда он с правой или с левой стороны там пытался мне подняться выше меня, я все-таки худо-бедно, но пересаживался все выше и выше. Потом сказал, я говорю, Саш, ты мне лучше, я говорю, не заходи мне там ни справа, ни слева, я говорю, сядь либо рядом, либо вот так, чтобы мы с тобой нормально разговаривали.
On rare footage of his home video, we can spot his strange behavior.
Снимай, чтобы видно было. Снимай.
Убивают.
Снимаешь?
Убивают.
Так, теперь я открыла окно, и сейчас он полетит с 10-го этажа.
We also know that he loved his dog a lot, but it was aggressive to other people.
Он все время своей собачкой, он собачку свою любил, очень ужасно. Вот собака злая была очень сильно.
In the same period of time, he shows an ability to manipulate people.
Холок он был отменный, я вам должен сказать. Отменный, вот он с людьми очень хорошо разговаривал на самом деле. Если ему что-то нужно было, необходимо там от человека, он его прямо изнутри вытаскивал.
Just like the plot of the movie The Rope, Alexander Pichushkin was obsessed with the idea of killing a person to prove his superiority of people.
Then may I ask, who is to decide that a human being is inferior and is therefore a suitable victim for murder?
The few who are privileged to commit murder.
And just who might they be?
Oh, myself.
He shared the idea with his only one friend of the time, and he agreed, and together they were planning the murder. And just like in the movie, there was only one truly pathological individual who was obsessed with the idea, and his friend had shown hesitancy.
You're a moon child. You're very much influenced by the moon. May I see your hand? You don't remember the hour of your birth by any chance?
No.
Good fingers, strong, artistic.
What about the concert?
These hands will bring you great fame.
As a place for the murder, friends chose Bitsa Park, nearby their place of living. It was a woods with plenty of paths and quiet places. It was a good place for love and murder, as Pichushkin later said. Pichushkin invited his friend to the woods to find a place to the murder. But he already knew that the first victim will be his own best friend, who lost respect in his eyes. He strangled him with the rope and dumped the body in sewer manhole, which was plenty in the woods. The body have never been found, and his friend was listed as a missing person. The maniac classmates pointed the finger at him, and Pichushkin was considered as a suspect by police. But His ability to act calm and be manipulative helped him to avoid suspicion.
Вот. Он говорит, ты что-то на меня наболтал. Я говорю, ну, что знал, то и рассказал. Я говорю, я давно подозреваю, что ты какой-то не вполне нормальный стал.
Although he enjoyed the murder and later he compared with the first love, he went to ground for almost 10 years. He worked hard these years and tried out a number of different workers' professions. He was considered a dedicated staff member. But it's hard to say he was successful. He failed in relationships, has no money and still lived in one apartment with his mother. Also, his beloved dog died and her grave later became a place of many of the murders.
Собственно, со второго трупа всех остальных я под этим предлогом вывалил.
His mother recalled the moment. One time he was really drunk and lying on the floor at the door. He was crying and saying, "Why I am so worthless? What's happening to me?" Probably his narcissistic personality disorder has hit the wall of reality. At the same time, he did remember that feeling of superiority from the past. He decided to kill again. It wasn't impulsive. He looked out for a victim for 2 months, on the way to work and back, in front of the house. That's how he met a random guy, Alexei, who used to drink. They have drunk together. Pichushkin gained credibility of the victim and invited him to get drunk again in the woods on the next day.
Я говорю, Алёш, ну куда же ты сейчас уходишь-то, я говорю. Мамуся, ненадолго, я прогуляюсь.
He got drunk the victim, hit his head with a hammer and dumped the body into a sewer manhole. That will be his constant way of murder in the future. From this moment, he becomes a Bitsa Park serial killer, wishing to feel moral superiority of people. On the next day, he came over to relatives of the victim, who walked the streets with the photo of the victim, asking people if they saw him.
И подошел незнакомый парень. И так весело, так, как бы, так. Не нашли еще? Спрашивает. Я думал, либо живет здесь, потому что я давно здесь не жил, либо знал он его.
Bitsa Killer was staring at the photo, act like he wants to help, but at the same time he enjoyed the fact that he only one who knows that that guy will never return home. In the next 3 years, Pichushkin killed over 30 people. He usually looked up for a person used to alcohol.
С ним вообще общались?
Да.
Тоже общались?
Так же, только через это дело.
Took his time. He talked to potential victim for hours.
Я играл, я вот так перевоплощался, как бы. То есть надо было понять, что человек, а потом подстроиться под него.
He tried to know a victim better. That allows him to increase the pathological pleasure of the murder.
Мне не только важно было умертвить саму плоть, но мне важно было вот это, осознать все вот это.
Next, he was inviting a victim to the woods to place of his beloved dog grave, to honor her. They were drunk together. Pichushkin didn't drink too much, but he gets the victim drunk as much as possible. He was reaching for his hammer and hit the head a few times from behind.
Я, по-моему, ударил еще сразу. Он завалился в Дальше я нанес ему еще несколько ударов. Удар в голове. Так. Разбит. Вставил ему бутылку. Так. Водки. Голову. Вначале палки достал, потом все не подходило, я достал, не помню. Вставил бутылку. Кипел очень сильно. Даже когда уже мертвый был.
Next, he was dumping the body into the sewers. To spice up his pathologic hobby, he started up closing squares of his chessboard. That's how he got the nickname Chessboard Killer later. He tried different approaches to his hobby. One time he dropped a drunk victim from the roof.
Здесь было, как бросил, что-то начал щелина откроешь, что такое. Он его приподнял, вот такой, за ремень, по-моему, за что-то, штаны, вот такой. И вот такой положил наполовину. Затем поддел в ноги, и он полетел. Ну и потом я услышал только крик там внизу. На старуху такой пошел.
He also tried to change his constant murder weapon from a hammer to a sped gun.
Ну тоже да, как будто кто-то ударил. Что такое произошло? Потом до него дошло, что Луза сидел так руками, так кровью обтирал с затылка, кровище там дофига. Никакой реакции, он даже сознание не потерял. Он меня отбил, он говорит, ну давай, говорит, убивай меня, стреляй еще. Я зарядил еще и неудачно крутанул, руками не дернул, мне по пальцу в череп, сам себе чуть по лобе.
Dozens of body parts have been found on Maryanovka sludge plant over the years. The parts have not been recognizable and the water source of the plant was a quarter of the Moscow city. Moreover, looks like the most of these people nobody cared about. So, for a while, police don't know what's happening. Just few of the victims survived. Bitsa Killer dragged Maria to the sewers and started beating her head against the manhole. But luckily, she fell into sewers being conscious.
Там была заполнена вода, я стала захлебываться. На мне была зимняя куртка, так как время было зимнее. И сильный стук воды понес меня по течению. Я расставила руки, ноги, держалась об трубу, содрала все, значит, до крови. Была не в силах выбраться оттуда. Я стояла всю ночь по пояс в этой ледяной воде. Мне было плохо, больно. Мне было страшно, я не знаю, мне было холодно в конце концов. Мне было до такой степени больно, что я не хотела жить на тот момент.
She was holding onto the ladder to the surface. She didn't have the strength to climb the ladder. She just screamed for help. Fortunately, she was heard by passers-by. Finally, Bitsa Park caught the attention of the police, and the media was full of headlines about Bitsa serial killer. Undercover officers were everywhere in the woods. Soon they caught a strange man dressed like a woman with a hammer in his purse. Police announced the arrest of the Bitsa Killer too fast, and it was all across the media. But it was soon found this guy was just a crazy person. Later, Pichushkin was remembering that he felt like he was robbed. He was taking murdering like a lifetime achievement. Over the next 2 days he killed 2 people, blatantly leaving the corpses on the ground. Bitsa Killer was telling later that when he wasn't killing somebody in a week, he was feeling like he didn't do anything significant in his life. Like he was out of work and feeling bad about himself. Like he no longer valuable member of society in his own pathological meaning. Pichushkin was very passionate about murdering, like it was only thing he was proud about. He was even jealous about other serial killers, thinking of them like they're his competitors. He was critical about another famous Russian serial killer, Chikatilo.
Мне многие его приписывают кумиру, но это неправда. Это сексуальный маньяк, людоед. Он жрал, рвал, что-то кидал, раскидывал, понимаете? Понимаете? У нас разные абсолютно. Он на сексуальной подоплеке это все делал. Я же по другим мотивам это делал. Абсолютно у нас разные. У нас нельзя сравнивать. Ну, что там может быть схоже, это только может быть количество. Да и по количеству я перешел по Чикатило.
His last victim was a friend, a lonely woman from one of his old jobs. Pichushkin invited her to go for a walk. But the sense of impunity made Pichushkin careless. He was spotted by surveillance camera, but more importantly, the victim left a note to the relative with the name of the man who invited her and his telephone number. But it didn't help the victim to survive. Her fate was similar to others. Soon, police came for him. He took it calmly and enthusiastically told them all his lifetime achievements, which he so wanted to share with all the people. Forensic psychiatric examination found him sane, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment in the most strict prison in Russia. Years in prison didn't break him. A few cellmates were afraid of him and asked prison administration a transfer. And he still fights with the court, trying to ease his conviction for the serving of sentence. That's the end of the story, at least for now. I hope it was interesting.
There must have been something deep inside you from the very start that let you do this thing. But there's always been something deep inside me that would never let me do it.